this edition of Fifth Gear. Is this now my favourite sports coupe, the Mazda RX8? And Tom feels the wind in his hair in the Beetle Cabriolet. Tonight on Fifth Gear, we're going to be answering the question that gets asked more than any other down the pub. What's quickest? We've got 3 sets of rivals, and we're going to put them head-to-head in a series of shootouts. We've brought them to the Anglesey Racetrack, a circuit which crams every type of corner into its compact 1.1 miles. There are no long straights to favour brute horsepower. Handling is at a premium. There are no great runways to excuse any errors. This is a real racing track for real racing drivers. Later in the programme, we'll pitch the Z4 against the Boxster, the aerial atom against the Radical. But first...
It's handbags at 20 paces. The Audi TT has been the must-have coupe for the last few years, but now there's a new car ready to steal its crown, the Nissan 350Z. Like all voluptuous young models, the Nissan's figures are impressive. £24,000 and 280 brake horsepower, all of which could leave the Audi feeling underwhelming and unloved. But this is a new silicon-enhanced TT with a DSG gearbox that pre-selects the next gear for faster changes. And it's got a new 3.2-litre V6 engine with 250 brake horsepower. But is that enough for this to retain its top trump status? A blast around the track will settle it. Well, it wasn't the quickest thing to engage into gear and go off. So into third for the first corner. Car squirming around underneath to get a bit of grip over the blind brow onto the brakes. Shut your eyes. Down to second. Nice, clean and crisp acceleration and very, very quick gear changes. This car behaves very well to being thrown sort of from left to right quite quickly. The four-wheel drive TT crosses the line in 64.6 seconds. But can the rear-wheel drive new kid on the block beat it? 3,500 revs, dump the clutch and it rockets off the line. Into third, down to second for this one. It's a lot more frisky than the Audi. This thing just slides its rear end and it's lovely. Oh, I really like this car. At the radar complex, the Nissan's extra 30 brake horsepower is evident, the superimposed TT being exactly 3 seconds behind. Onto the brakes. This just feels a much bigger car. Ooh, feels like a big, muscly tank. Feels very masculine compared to the very pretty and poised Audi TT. The 350Z really pulls its punch now, being 4.6 seconds ahead at the hairpin. The Audi is penalised by its traction control, which you can't turn off completely. Lots of sideways stuff. The Nissan finishes a whole 4 seconds ahead in 59.6 seconds. So the TT is still very pretty and it's the car you'd want to arrive at a party with. But the 350Z is the one you want to take home. Rear-wheel drive, don't you just love it?
So there we are. The 350Z is indisputably our coupe champion. But maybe it shouldn't be. Because I've just had this delivered. Mazda have rejoined the coupe party with the replacement to their RX-7, the RX-8, which, like its predecessor, features their rotary engine. Banished from our shores some 5 years ago due to ever-tightening emissions regulations, this revolutionary power plant, designed by Dr. Felix Wankel, cue schoolboy giggles, is back. Wankel's design does away with valves and conrods in favour of a triangular rotor turning inside a cylindrical housing. So there's less friction and it's lighter. But there were always doubts over its reliability. So to shut everyone up, Mazda entered a rotary engine car at Le Mans and in 1991 became the first Japanese marque to win. But whilst the reliability of the engine may have been proven, there were still a few other drawbacks that prevented the rest of the world from running up the rotary path. Notably those emissions, but also poor fuel consumption and a lack of torque for low-down acceleration. Yet I can forgive it all of that because of this. 9,500 revs. Two models are available, a 190 bhp version that no one will want, and this one with a much more useful 230. Yet it still has less than 2/3 of the torque of the Nissan 350Z and does 6 miles to the gallon less than the 225 Audi TT. Bizarrely, the higher-powered model has less torque than its baby brother, so it really does need the extra 2,000 revs and the extra 6-speed in the gearbox. In many ways, it's like Mazda's answer to Honda's VTEC. If you want some action, you need revs, revs, revs. So you're going to have to use the gearbox. But then, isn't that what real driving is all about? Of course, there are those who will bang on about how amazing it is for a 1.3-litre engine, but it isn't really, because it's a whole different concept. And in fact, when it recently won an award for engine design, it was entered into the 2.5 to 3-litre category. Good seat, good driving position, nice steering wheel, and great dials. I really love that big rev counter in the middle with the digital speedometer neatly housed within it. In fact, generally interior has got sharp styling. I love this rotary centre console. But what on earth is that display all about? It reminds me of my first ever digital watch. Rear-wheel drive with traction control and option. The handling is very good, if somewhat on the soft side. In fact, it's more Audi than Nissan. But the steering feel is much better than the German opposition, and the gearbox, one of the best. Well, the change is spoilt by a rather uncomfortable rotary-shaped knob and a handbrake that tends to get in the way. So it's safe and solid, but no MX-5 in the handling department. However, this RX8 does have a lot more going for it. First of all, there's its looks. It's not as obviously pretty as an Audi TT, and admittedly it doesn't possess quite the same muscular road presence as a 350Z, but as an overall package, it works. Indeed, the longer I looked at it, the more I liked it. And for its pièce de résistance, the RX8 has something that none of the other opposition have. Something that Rolls-Royce made a big fuss about with their new Phantom. Suicide doors. Doors that ease access to the rear seats. And when I say seats, I mean real seats. This coupe is a genuine 4-seater. Added to that is the fact that at £22,000, it's something of a bargain. £5,000 cheaper than the equivalent Audi, but crucially only £2,000 less than the 350Z, which, unless you do have to carry your complete family with you everywhere you go, remains my pick of the coupe club. Still, time for one more rev.
In the black corner, the Ariel Atom. No roof, no doors, no screen, and a 2-litre VTEC engine from the Honda Civic Type R. The spec on this car brings the price to £28,000. In the red corner, the Radical SR3. Again, no roof, doors or screen, and £28,000, but with a 1300 Suzuki Hayabusa motorbike engine. Radical claim it's the fastest track day car you can buy. On paper, they are pretty even. Both have 400 brake horsepower per tonne and reach 60 miles an hour in under 4 seconds. But which one is fastest? Come on, place your bets. First, a lap in the Radical. Snaking off the start line, rapidly into third gear. relief. If you weren't awake at the beginning, there you are now. It's just instant acceleration, accompanied by loads of noise, shed loads of vibration. Oh, this thing is rapid. Onto the brakes, pretty solid brakes. Oh, a little bit of understeer. Oh! As you build up the speed, the G-forces really can be felt in this car. This car requires 120% concentration. The SR3 crosses the line in 53.3 seconds. Time for the aerial atom. Oh, off the line, straight, up to 8,800. Third gear, first bend. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's got a lovely amount of grip. The chassis doesn't feel as harsh or as hardcore as the Radical. I actually feel I can get out of this atom with my skeleton still intact. Its performance can be exploited straight away, and as our superimposed Radical shows, the Atom is 0.7 of a second ahead at the radar complex. The oversteer is much easier to handle. It steps out quite gracefully and quite gradually, whereas the Radical really is exactly what it says. By the hairpin, though, the gap is starting to narrow. It's down to 0.4 of a second. And it's downhill from here for the Atom. The last part of the circuit is straighter, and the grunt of the Radical's bike engine helps it to catch the Atom and overtake it to win by 0.2 of a second. So, the ultimate road-legal track car is the Radical SR3. With warmer brakes, it would have been even faster.
Ah, summer days in Blighty. Tropical blue seas, the scorching heat of the sun's rays, and gorgeous women scantily clad in bikinis.
And I'm here at the seaside. And like any good holidaymaker, I bought my bucket and spade, stick of rock, big bag of balls, money for chips, and a new Beetle cabriolet.
Yes, that's right. Volkswagen have just launched a born-again Beetle cabriolet. Prices start around 15.5 grand for a 1.6, with a range-topping 2-litre like this one costing 17.5. If you like cute, you'll love it.
And all you have to do to get rid of this big old canvas hood and enjoy the British summertime, which incidentally is getting slightly better, is flick a switch and pull a handle, just like Audi's TT Roadster.
Yes, it's as quick as that. Brilliant!
But no matter how good it looks with the roof down, you can see where the compromises have been made. Take a look at that boot. You'd be struggling to get even the smallest bits of beach kit in there for anybody. As for this folded roof, well, it completely fills your rear view mirror. And these back seats, you'd have to be literally legless to get anybody in them. Thing is, the whole car's so unutterably girly. You feel like it should come with a makeup bag and extra big mirrors so you can get your lippy on properly.
It's not exactly like it's much fun to drive as well. Even this top-of-the-range 2-litre 115 brake unit is really, really boring to listen to. And as for the handling, well, it's all pure golf, because that's what it is underneath. Thing is, this is a car with a vase, so take the hint. Much better suited to being a boulevardier on the promenade than chucking around bends.
Ah, that's better.
But there are still niggles. You see this long dashboard? Well, it means you can't see the front of the car, and it makes it really, really hard to park. And as for your rear view mirror, well, it's totally full of that folded hood. Who cares though? Smiles and waves spontaneously surround this car. You've suddenly been transformed into a tree-hugging, baby-kissing, cuddly-wuddly bear of a person. Men want to be you, women want to sleep with you. It's like driving around in a giant fruity bathtub.
Cruising Skegness for the afternoon, I could have made hundreds of new chums, but my girlfriend would have been jealous. And you can never forget that when it comes to the driving experience, this car really is rather at sea.
So, the Beetle Cabriolet. Well, it is a flawed gem. It's got great looks and bags of personality, but as a long-term relationship, I'm not sure I could commit.
After a gap of nearly 30 years, a famous badge is returning to the roads, the BMW M3 CSL. As before, it's a lightweight model with a carbon fibre roof amongst its weight-saving features that slash a massive 185 kilos off the standard car. The engine may only have an extra 17 horsepower, but when it comes to performance, weight is everything. Just 500 of these limited edition models are coming to the UK to line up alongside the current M3, and all are sold. But at nearly £60,000, are they really worth £20,000 more than the already highly respected standard model? Well, there was only one way to find out, by pitching them head-to-head on the Anglesey racetrack. So, let the standard M3 set the pace. We've got an SMG paddle shift gearbox, which isn't ideal, I don't think, for track work. But then the CSL's got one as well, so I guess that's only fair. With a BMW and that sort of power, there's always a little bit of oversteer. Up the hill, nice and neutral. Great traction, even with the traction control switched off. There's still a very impressive amount of traction there. Well, that should set a pretty impressive time, I reckon. A time of 52.8 seconds to be precise for a flying lap of the 1.1 mile circuit. Now, we knew the CSL would be quicker, but the big question was, by how much? So what can you possibly get for an extra 20 grand? Apart from a seat that hugs you to death, an engine note that is just to die for, and some handling that is just sharpened up. Up now to radar, the auto blipper. Already the CSL is 0.7 of a second ahead of the superimposed M3. Slightly snappier, it's not quite so easy to drive on the limit, it's got a more of a sudden breakaway. By the hairpin, the gap had stretched to 0.9 of a second, with just the S's and the home straight to come. Oh, listen to that engine. I don't care if it isn't any quicker. It just sounds so much quicker. But of course, in the end, it was, by a massive 2 seconds. And if a Grand Prix team could buy that for £20,000, they'd consider it a bargain. And now here's some very lovely shots of a very lovely car in an interesting and glamorous location. Perfect. All we need now is somebody to come along and tell us what it is.
It's the 250 GT California Spyder. I'd call it irresistible. Now, there's probably no such thing as an undesirable Ferrari, but when it's a classically styled two-seater roadster from the 1950s, it's about as glamorous as you can get.
The California Spyder is unashamedly gorgeous. Every crease, every curve, every catch and every shut line gives nothing but sheer visual pleasure.
Aimed primarily at the American market, hence the name, it was built to cruise rather than race. But you can't ignore the fact that it's still capable of 135 miles an hour and will nail 60 in around 7 seconds, which is pretty impressive for something from the 1950s.
But not for 1 second do I feel the need to gun that lazy V12. All I want to do is sit back, stroke the throttle, and pretend I'm Audrey Hepburn all day long. And I'm sure it does live up to its romantic promise on a warm summer's evening, because even on a cold December day in London, it gets its fair share of admiring glances. So, how much do you have to pay to be eternally in vogue? Well, according to one of only 3 owners in the UK, the price of entry to the California Spyder Club is between £600,000 and £1 million.
Right, back to Anglesey for our final shootout. This is the showdown that everyone's been waiting to see. BMW's new £31,000 231 bhp Z4 versus Porsche's £31,500 228 horsepower Boxster. Same price, same power, but which is fastest over a flying lap? So let the Boxster set the pace. This is a car that I've always loved. The steering feel, the balance, and of course, the mild oversteer. Briefly in third, engine bogs a bit, that could lose time. But it feels good. This has set a real pace for the Beamer to beat. Through the twisty bits, the Boxster is in its element. And sets a lap time of 53.9 seconds, only needing to use 3 of its 5 gears. The question now is, can the 6-speed Z4, which is heavier yet has a faster 0 to 60 time, take the Boxster's scalp? And so's the BMW, and straight away I can tell the difference. I need 4th gear. The 6-speed gearbox has its advantages. Shorter ratios, the seaside sweeper in third. Oversteer like the Boxster, but a little bit more controllable, not quite so wild. And at the top of the hill, the Z4 is just 1/10 of a second ahead, but it's still too close to call. Traction maybe a little bit better, the front edge of the weight distribution perhaps to its advantage. After the long straight to the hairpin, the Z4 is edged slightly further ahead, but there's still only 4/10 of a second between them. Plenty of grunt there. Third. This is going to be a tight thing. They're so similar, really. Both a joy to drive. Cross the line, 4th gear. It was a close thing, but a lap time of 53.3 seconds put the Z4 just over half a second ahead of the Boxster to claim the shootout crown.